Jason Stewart here. Owner occupied. What does that mean and how does that affect your loan? Now, if you're getting an FHA loan, a VA loan, typically you're buying that as owner occupied. Now, if you buy it as owner occupied, that means you're supposed to be living there. If you go to buy another home, a lot of times people are like, well, I just want to buy another one. Can I get the same loan? Well, it depends. It has to be owner occupied. Now, you could just say you're going to live there, but let me give you some scenarios that do and don't make sense. Now, if you bought your first home and it's a small condo, and then a few years later, you had a kid. Now you want to buy a house. Well, that makes sense, okay? But if you're young, you had a condo, you had a bunch of kids and got married, and then you want to move to something smaller, that might not make sense. Or if you bought a house and you want to move to a condo, that might not make sense. But what if you're 60, 65 years old? You have a 4 or 5 bedroom house. Well, now moving into a condo does make sense from an owner-occupied perspective because you raised your family, the kids are probably out of the house. Now, you don't need all that room, so you're gonna move to something smaller, okay? Another scenario, the house might be the same size, but your job moved. Or, you're commuting 30, 50 miles to work and you wanna buy something closer. In that scenario, it doesn't have to be you're upgrading or downgrading home, it could be for convenience. So those are some examples of owner-occupied. Now, what's the difference from a loan perspective? If you're a veteran, owner-occupied, 0 down. FHA, 3.5% owner-occupied. If it's a non-owner-occupied loan, you're usually gonna put 20% or more. There are some loans with 15%, the interest rate's not great. And across the board, the interest rate is usually gonna be a little bit higher, 1/8 to 1/4% higher or more for a non-owner-occupied loan versus owner-occupied. Just because there's less emotional attachment, so there's a greater risk for the bank if you don't live there. That's why they charge an increased interest rate. Jason Stewart, Stewart Estates team.